Hi, welcome to the video. So I'm going to talk about the two witnesses. And if you go to the description below, there should be a Google Drive link to the PDF you see here. This is actually my downloaded version. But if you open up off there in the upper right corner, about right here, it will it will come down prompting you if you want to download or not. You should have my permission. So I have to forewarn you, this is a little different what you normally hear. Um, This is actually, yes, it's two witnesses, but in one physical body. I know it sounds weird. Don't go away, okay? Trust me, I'm going to prove it to you using the Greek and original Greek. And let's just take a look here. This is kind of a busy timeline here. So this here is the timeline. This is during the destruction of the temple, and doing research based on what Josephus had to say in the scriptures, taking the time to carry the Bible seriously and all that, and the time and the audience relevance. Christians today tend to substitute themselves the primary audience rather than the audience that's actually written to, which is highly problematic. But it is what it is. But anyway, yeah. So there's a gentleman by the name of Jesus of Ananus who cried, "Woe to Jerusalem for 7 years, 5 months." People would beat him, okay, for 7 years, 5 months. This is in War 653. So let's just go there real quick. If you click on it, it'll bring you to the online version, but I have a downloaded copy. So this is it'll bring you there, and then you just go down to chapter 5 and then paragraph 3. But I'm going to use my downloaded copy because I use highlight. So this is it right here. And this is very interesting. So if you go to book 6, chapter 5, and then paragraph 3, all right, so you scroll down a little bit, and it'll start with, but what is still more terrible, there is one Jesus, the son of Ananus, 4 years before the war began. Now the war, he talked about the War 66 AD. It started in 66 AD. So this is going back 4 years. It's 62 AD, just like the shield on the timeline. In a time when the city was in very great peace and prosperity, came to that feast when it was our custom for everyone to make tabernacle to God in the temple. So he talked about the feast of unleavened bread. And so that's when he actually died. Began on a sudden cry aloud, a voice from the east, a voice from the west, a voice from the four winds, a voice against Jerusalem. So he's saying that he is a voice from the east and a voice from the west. What that remind you of? From the east is Elijah, and from the west is Moses. Go back to Transfiguration, Moses and Elijah. Okay, and a voice against Jerusalem and the holy house, a voice against the bridegrooms and the brides, and a voice against the holy people. So the bridegrooms or against or yeah. Anyway, so he went about day and night. All right, for 7 years, 5 months, and people that gave him severe stripes, just like Jesus. Not say anything for himself, just like Jesus. Anything in particular, those chapter. I'm not saying this is Jesus of Nazareth, okay, but he had the same character of Jesus in many ways. And so, so my theory on that, if you go back to the Transfiguration, you had Moses and Elijah, and remember Jesus told Peter and James and John, don't say anything until after the Son of Man resurrects. Okay, so apparently Moses and Elijah were watching the crucifixion. That's my take on it. And so when they were getting whipped in the spirit, they're behaving the same way Jesus was. That's the only thing I can think of. I'm going to prove all this later on. I know this all sounds weird right now. Okay, I get it. Okay. So continuing on, as he said, woe to Jerusalem. All righty. You can read all about it here. All right. Nor did he give ill word to any of those that beat him every day, nor good words to those that gave him food. Now that sprang to mind Matthew 25. What did Jesus say there? Let's go there. So Matthew 25, 45. Then he will answer them, truly I say to you, to the extent you did not do to one of these, at least these, you did not do to me. So let's just back it up a little bit here. So I was a stranger, and you did not invite me in. Naked, and you did not clothe me. Sick and in prison, you did not visit me. Then they themselves also will answer, Lord, when did we see you hungry, or thirsty, or stranger, or naked, or sick, or in prison, and did not take care of you? And so he answers them, okay? And that's exactly what was going on. And so that's what springs to my mind. Um, so right here, nor good words to those who gave him food. All right. So yeah. And then until the very time that he saw Sage and earnest fulfilled in our siege. So right there, siege, that was Titus, which started on April 11th, AD 70, which is the Passover. So that evening, the Feast of Unleavened Bread, when the siege began, that is when he had died. All right. And so as he's going around upon the wall, so he was outside the temple in Jerusalem, which fits Revelation chapter 11 perfectly. And cried out with his utmost force, woe, woe to the city again. Okay, and just as he added to the laugh, woe, woe to himself, there came a stone out of one of the engines, smote him, and killed him immediately, which fits perfectly with John's vision. There were white stones, weight of a talent, 100 pounds, and he saw them as hailstones in his vision, but it's actually white stones from the engines, the catapults. All right, and so as he was uttering the very same passages, he gave up the ghost. All right, so let me just go ahead and show you what the Greek and try to prove it to you. So the English translation in Revelation 11:8, which is right here, in their dead body. This is an incorrect translation. This is what has thrown people off, understandably so. So that's the transfiguration. So let's go to Revelation 11, where it actually talks about the two witnesses. All right. So, and I will grant authority to my two witnesses, and they will prophesy for 1260 days. Sorry. These are the olive trees, lampstand. If anyone wants to harm them, fire comes out of their mouth, devours the enemy. Elijah. If you want to harm them, you must kill them this way. You have the power to shut up the sky, so the rain will not fall, and power over the waters, that Moses strike the earth with every plague as often as they desire. So that springs to your mind, the Old Testament, and I already have the passages. If you click on Two Witnesses link, and or Moses link, and or Elijah link, it gives you all the passages that make the connections if you're not familiar with the story. So along with that, the law represents Moses, and the prophets represents Elijah. All right. And so anyway, going back to Revelation 11, let's go there here. And when they finished their testimony, that was on the day of Passover, 40th anniversary, the beast comes up out of the abyss, will make war with them. That's Titus. I'll show that in a little bit. And overcome them and kill them. So that was on during the Feast of Unleavened Bread that evening on April 11th. And their dead bodies will lie in the street of the great city, which mystically is called Sodom in Egypt. So Egypt being Moses, and Sodom being Elijah. They're also their Lord was crucified. All right. So if you read this with the understanding, one physical body and two people in that, Elijah and Moses in that one body, you can see it until you get to verse 8. It's like, wait a minute, it said they're dead body. That's plural. It doesn't fit what you're saying, right? Bear with me, I get it. Let's go to the Greek. The Greek lexicon. It's a little different. And it says, and the body, singular, of them, plural, Moses and Elijah, will be upon the tree. So what's happening here is the translators, they're thinking in their mind that it's two physical bodies, and that's why they're not translating this properly. But it's actually one body of them, which is both Elijah, the two spirits, Elijah and Moses. All right. Upon the street of the city, where was he when he cried us out? You go back to um, Joseph's writings. He's outside the wall. Okay. So it fits perfectly, and then figuratively Saddam in Egypt, Saddam being Elijah, and Egypt being Moses. All right. It was crucified. So using the Greek, it proves what I'm saying: the two spirits in one body. Okay, plural and the singular. All right. So I'm not making this stuff up. Um, so yeah, so it throws a lot of people off. So anyway, and then where it says celebrate. Yeah, you read of celebrating later on Josephus' writings. It's not clear whether they were celebrating on this or not. Um, but yeah, and how they torment those who dwell on the earth. They kept repeating over and over for 7 years, 5 months. Woe to Jerusalem, and that's how they were tormenting those around them. And so, and then the 3.5 days. Well, interesting. 40 years earlier, you had the resurrection, right? Jesus, 3.5 days. 40 years later, um, you had 3.5 days. And in Hebraic calendar, okay, not Gregorian, but the Hebraic calendar, 40 years later, you have the 3.5 days repeating itself, and so the timing is perfect. So, and then come up here. Unfortunately, Josephus not document this, alrighty, and so yeah, so the timing is perfect. Um, yeah, so let's go forward. So April 11th. So that's the last day of the 1260 days of Revelation 11:3. So that brings us to the first day being October 30th, 8066, which just so happens is exactly 77 days after the sacrifice exceeds. There's a significance of 7, okay? But 77 days later, all right, it begins the 1260 days. And so it happens that during the same time, the Daniel 12:12 prophecy, the 1335 days, all right? So, and so what's interesting in this, you have the 12:6 days of Revelation 11:3. You also have the 12:6 days of Revelation 12:6, which starts after the Jews who came to Christ, who were at the temple, fled the temple, which happened on Thursday afternoon, April 10th, 8066, or 8070, sorry. Which so happened their prayers answered. Remember, Jesus told them, pray your flight not take place in winter or on the Sabbath. Okay, their prayers answered. Even though that God told them 500 plus years ago, 1335 day countdown, so he saw it all beforehand. So the first day then becomes April 11th, 8070. You add the 1260 days that brings us to September 22nd, AD 73. Alrighty. So happening the two 1260 days has a 1 day overlap, and that 1 day overlap is the 40th anniversary of the Lord's Passover. Alright, so the timing is perfect. So anyway, oh yeah, now I was going to show you Titus being the beast. All right. Now Nero was the beast at first. All right. So let's just go through this. And there are 7 kings. 5 are fallen. So you got Julius. Now according to ancient literature, it's Julius. More modern day literature kind of just blows off Julius. No, he wasn't the first. But no, you go back to ancient literature, it's Julius. So Augustus, Tiberius, Caligula, and Claudius. So there are 5, and one is at present tense, Nero. The time is written. And the other is not yet come, and we come, he must continue a short space. So the next ones were Galba, Otho, Vitellius, and Vespasian. Now, the problem is Galba did not get control. Same thing with Otho and Vitellius. It wasn't until Vespasian came in, then he got control. So when it says the 7, it's referring to all these because it's looking at from God's perspective. Control, okay, who has control, alrighty, and it's actually pretty consistent with that. Like in Luke 3:1, Luke was actually going by when Tiberius versus Augustus had control, so he went by 11 AD, not 14 AD, alright, so that has thrown a lot of people off when it comes to dating of the crucifixion. I have a video on that as well, crucifixion dating, part 1 and 2. So anyway, so it continues on. The beast that was and is not now at this point in time in the prophecy, he's now dead. So that was June 8th, AD 68. And even he is the eighth, which is Titus, next beast, okay? And is of the seven, okay? Titus was Vespasian's son. That's how he was of the seven, and goes into perdition. And you better believe in perdition. And then, so that's how you get the seven, Vespasian from God's perspective in terms of control, Vespasian, all right? And then here we go to Revelation 11:7. Yeah, so it fits perfectly. So that um, Moses and Elijah finished their testimony on April 11th, AD 70. The beast Titus and sent out a pit shall overcome and kill them, and sure as heck with the white stone that killed them from the battering ram catapults, if you will. All right. So hopefully that'll make sense to you. I think the mystery is solved, but I can't think of a better explanation. So yeah, so it's actually Moses and Elijah in one person, and so that's not something you see every day. Alrighty. Anyway, hope this helps. Hope you continue to enjoy your studies, and you have an awesome day. Thank you.